Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. So happy to be with you. Trying to get rested up, caught up. We are constantly behind in this fight for survival. Facebook doesn't help. They are censoring my materials. I can't get anything out. It's crazy. Twitter's no better. We've looked at how these social media engines will censor hashtags or different ways that we try to get our information out. I feel like I'm part of some underground railroad system for black folks where I'm trying to, whisper to people to give codes to or passing notes in prison or whatever. That's what it is. It's a veritable prison in terms of how they try to treat us. But here's the good news, everybody. Even with everything that they do against us, think about what's going on with Google. They run the worst ads on our websites. They're trying to shut us down in terms of our ability to earn income by passing out good quality information. And I'm going to talk about that quite a bit today because there's a potential scandal brewing with reporters on the left. But with all that they do to conspire against us, think about this. We still win. Donald Trump went to Japan and Abe, their prime minister, said, "We have never enjoyed such a close relationship. I've been in contact with this man on multiple occasions. And I tell you, every time I talk to him, I feel as if we get closer and closer and more bonded." And effectively said, "I've never had this feeling as prime minister," meaning he doesn't have that feeling with Barack Obama. And let me tell you something. The sad part about Barack Obama was when he did foreign policy, he did it in such a way that it was about him. It was all about, how do I look? It wasn't about, how do we mutually work together for our benefit? I was talking to somebody about their resume, doing a job, asked for my input. Says, "Kevin, what do HR people look for?" In when you put that piece that says, "Here's what I bring to the party." And I said, let me give you the best advice I can give you. If you're going to apply for a job, go to the company's mission statement. Find out what it is they want. Map what it is that you're good at to what they want. If they say, our mission is to help the community, then you say, the abilities that I will bring to your organization will help you further your mission of helping the community. Here are some of the things I've been able to accomplish in the community, and I would hope that my abilities will be able to help you move this even further, whatever. But you get what I'm saying? But you know what most people do when they write their description? What do they call it? I forget what it's called, but that area where you write what you're going to bring to the party, my skill set. What do you want from this company or whatever it is? It's like, I will bring to you my analytical skills. I will bring my degrees and my diplomas and all my good things and all the pretty, pretty words people say about me. And I'm going to bring all that. Well, good for you. I've been able to do all these great things at my job that has nothing to do with your mission. Nothing. Now, you may think, well, Kevin, I was a good accountant. I'm bringing my accounting skills. Well, great. That's what they want. They only want you monolithically to do accounting. They want people that fit their culture. We talk about this. And you know what's funny? When you look at capitalism and you look at careers and you look at jobs and what people want at these jobs, it's no different than America. When I used to be in management consulting, we would talk about corporate culture all the time. The corporate culture of GM is different than the corporate culture of Caterpillar. You can't bring one and think it's going to work with the other. The other thing about corporate culture is it has to be based on a set of core values. Oh, yeah. I'm starting to talk Tea Party now. Tea Party community. Go check out teapartycommunity.com. Core values. I'll give you an example. If you don't care about your product, if you're like, the customer does not matter. We make a crappy product. Our job is to sell the product. It goes out the door. It doesn't come back. Believe it or not, there are corporations that run like that. They don't last very long. They don't usually get very big, but we make junk now. In the old days, think about it. If you ever watched a show called American Pickers, you know why stuff lasts? Why you can go to a junkyard and you can find a toaster that's 130 years old or whatever, whenever they started making them. You can find an old motorbike that's 100 years old or 150 years old. You can find an old skateboard or a scooter or a wagon. Have you seen the wagons of today? They're like nylon, and you pull them. They got little plastic wheels. You pull them. They're nylon fabric. How are they going to stand the test of time? Just ask yourself that. The short answer is they're not. They're made to be throwaways. That's the culture we live in now. Is it's a throwaway. That nobody worries about the core values that say, what am I leaving behind? What is the legacy? Now, part of that is we didn't want, there came a time where people said, look, we make products too good, and therefore you want a person to replace their toaster every 3 years or every 2 years, their microwave every year or two. How often are you tempted to go, God, I just bought this TV. I got to replace it. How often do you replace your computer? If you keep a computer for 5 years, you are in the minority. What about your cell phone? How often is that being replaced? All the time, right? Your operating system. They could have quit messing around with operating systems years ago. They don't want to because they get that recurring money. And that's the way the system works these days. Recurring money. Money for nothing. So, look, lots to discuss in this realm, but all I'm getting at with all of these different things is that culture has changed. But if you look at what companies stand the test of time, it's the ones that cater to that culture that says we will respect our people, we will respect the people that we service, and we'll have an underlying thing that says we will, that our product has to mean something. It has to do something. It has to last. It has to give a person a good feeling. Those are the brands that you remember, the ones that last. So anyway, I see the conservatives as that. We have a conservative brand that will last. It will stand the test of time. Anyway, I got a ton to try to get in here, but I want you to feel good, folks. We're winning every single day, little by little. And I'm going to share it with you today.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Democrats are reeling, running around like sprayed roaches. Welcome to the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. Oh, my goodness. The Democrats know they've been caught. Things that are coming up are really getting eerie in some ways, and we'll talk about it in a second. But Democrats have to feel like, honestly, a McDonald's worker who got caught ordering, Papa John's pizza. Just have him sending it to work for his lunch. He's out the back door paying the dude in cash, Oh, man, eating out by the dumpster, hiding behind it. His boss comes out, Fred, what are you doing behind that dumpster? Nothing, boss. Is that a Papa John's box over there? Hey, Papa John's had a problem with the NFL. They were saying, look, you guys, we're not making any money. We got to look at the bottom line here. And then, of course, rightfully, their competition comes out and goes, oh, we're doing fine with the NFL. I don't think they were, but it's a smart move to say, yeah, well, they're suffering, but we're not. We make good pizza. So it was a bad move in that respect, but it was a good move by Papa John because it validated what we know about the NFL, which is they got no seats. They got no butts in the seats. I talked the other day about it. I'm not going to belabor the point, not anymore this week, but come Thursday night, we'll let you know again because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen Thursday night. The numbers are going to go down. Football gets so easy not to watch little by little. It's like, breaking up with a girlfriend. Eventually, you don't think about her anymore. Or boyfriend for my females in the audience. Eventually, when you break up, it's like, I'm done. And yeah, there are a couple things that'll jog your memory every now and then, but pretty soon you're going, nope, that's it. I'm done. Woohoo. Wipe your hands of it. So, the NFL, that's what their fate is going to be. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about these Democrats reeling. Like the Pepsi guy getting caught drinking Coke, snagged. Where's the Russia story? A yawn, right? It's a yawn now. It's like, oh, Russia. The story that was supposed to impeach Donald Trump is a nothing burger. And the Dems want no discussion of impeaching Trump. Have you heard that story? Nancy Pelosi has essentially said to Maxine Waters, they can't control them crazy Negroes at the Congressional Black Caucus, but Nancy Pelosi has put the word out to say, look, y'all need to stop talking about impeaching Trump. It isn't because she's a fan of Trump. What Nancy Pelosi is doing is she's trying to figure out how to maintain her power. She got a little power back when Donald Trump took over. Remember, it was less than 6 months ago. They wanted Pelosi's head on a platter. They were going to go straight up jihad over her. But now they're kind of backing off. Why? Because there's so many other controversies. Think about how bad it must be that you still want Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer leading your party. I mean, think about Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Donna Brazil's book, which, as I said, Donna Brazil's book revealed a lot of things. One, it revealed the crooked nature of the DNC and the collusion between the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. It revealed the second thing, which I think was bigger, and that is that Barack Obama left the DNC broke. See, if you think about that particular point, it unravels all the things they're telling you about themselves. Obama's popular, Hillary's the best thing since sliced bread, blah, blah, blah. So for the most part, the Democrats understand that the wheels are coming off the wagon. But then Donna Brazil revealed one other thing that is kind of gone a little bit unnoticed, where she dedicated her book to Seth Rich. She called him a patriot. This is a kid who died under some very strange circumstances. And most of us really believe, and I don't even think it's a conspiracy theory, that the Democrats, likely the Clintons, had Seth Rich killed. Now, I know it sounds, when you start talking about people getting killed in politics and all that, it takes on this ominous thing and everybody wants to start looking at you like you're Alex Jones. Look, people, do you think that House of Cards is a joke? Do you think that, I don't know if you watch the show, But if you watch political shows, when you see people, the FBI, the CIA, or somebody going after somebody, it's just usually CIA types. If you see people going after them, do you think that they made this up, that it's Hollywood, taking liberties? People get killed in politics. Wrong place, wrong time. Know too much. Suspected of knowing too much. This is not, when I tell you politics is a blood sport, I think people see it as, like a saying, like politics is a blood sport. Politics makes the UFC look like a rabbit fight. Politics is the most dangerous thing in the world, people. We downplay it. We want to think of the good nature of man. When people tell you, I'm afraid for my life, they're afraid for their lives. There are people, you should go study the deaths with the Clintons, and particularly when they were governor. I say they because it's they. Told you guys I had to land emergency in the, not me, but the whole plane landed as an emergency in Little Rock, Arkansas. They call it the Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport. Not Bill Clinton, not the presidential airport of Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton. No, both Bill and Hillary Clinton. And I'm going to make you a bet that within a year, Little Rock, Arkansas is renaming their airport. But here's my point. There's a guy who worked for the Clintons, and something happened. I remember in one of the stories we read when it was 47 deaths leading up to the Clintons. It's much more now. But he made the comment, something happened, and his declaration to staffers was, I'm dead. And you know what? He mysteriously died. I'm not laughing at the death. I'm laughing at the guy going, it would be like that Bill Clinton had an affair, but you're the only one. You and maybe a Secret Service guy knows. And so suddenly it comes up and they start sniffing around. And you find out that some operative is looking for opposition research on Bill Clinton. And you say to yourself, uh-oh, I'm dead. Because I'm one of the people who knows. And the Clintons leave no prisoners. They leave no, what do they call them? Loose ends. Thank you. Loose ends. They don't leave any loose ends. So you know you're dead. Go read some of the stories of the people associated with the Clintons and the way they died. And look, I get it. There's no 100% proof. But like I said on TV, and I've used this saying quite a bit, if there's one buzzard circling, something might be dead. If there's dozens of buzzards circling, something's dead. And that is exactly what you find with the Clintons. Tax plans underway, folks. Now the negotiation begins. And let me tell you something. President Trump is a winner. He's going to get his tax plan. And it most likely is going to help you. Most likely. If you don't live in a state where they have a state tax, it's definitely going to help you because you're probably middle class. Got that and tons of other stuff to talk about. So glad you're here on The Kevin Jackson Show.
This is The Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
This is why it's relevant. It's not just relevant how much money people got paid for a speech. I mean, she talked for free for the last 30 years and very few people were listening. To think she made millions of dollars in those speeches is pretty remarkable. But it's relevant because of what you just said. It's worth a look because the uranium rights. It's worth a look because she was at the State Department when, as the Hill reported a couple weeks ago, Sean, you've been covering nightly, people were trying to get Russian interests were trying to get influence within the Obama administration, and she was there at Foggy Bottom at the State Department. Her husband got the speaking fees. If Melania Trump had given a speech for $500,000 in Russia, it'd be plastered everywhere. So you know it's relevant. You know there's just a triple standard going on here. And I saw by one account, there were 50 times the coverage of the Trump campaign and Russia than there was of the Clinton campaign in Russia. And people still give the nauseating excuse, Sean, is because he won and she lost. That is not what's relevant here. The other thing I would just point out for you.
Hillary.
Yes.
She stole a primary.
Yeah, but she lost anyway. Our grandmothers were right. Cheaters never prosper.
Well, she stole it from Bernie.
She stole it from
if
Bernie.
I was
and
a
that will have
communist socialist like him.
That was Kellyanne Conway. What a nice lady. So just direct it to the right there. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is. But, I got the impression she was saying something along the lines of, let's just move along or whatever. But there's more to this, folks. There's more to this. See, the infighting that's happening with the Democrats is what they constantly accuse us of. Now, is there infighting in the Republicans? Absolutely there is, because most of the Republicans that represent us are rhinos who are in cahoots with the Democrats. They are swamp rats, bottom feeders that once the swamp gets drained, we'll see all the sucker fish that live at the bottom, that are eating the excrement of all the other fish that that were swimming in the swamp. But here's where we are. Here's what I want to do right now. I'll get that clip for Schumer ready for me. So Chuck Schumer is being interviewed by a lady, some leftist play. I don't know who it is, but it's CNN or somebody. And he's asked, what do you think about Donna Brazil's statement? And he says, I pretty much leave him alone, but leave the DNC alone. We run separate. I like Tom Perez. And as you listen to this, he catches him. He effectively tells a lie because he pretends that, look, I don't need the DNC. Why would I be messing with those guys? Well, he messes with those guys because they help fund his campaign, or they help fund the campaigns of the people that he says fund this campaign. That's how it works. Schumer can't act like he hasn't been a power broker for years. He's worked to get to the level of power that he is, and he doesn't want to give it up. But at the very end is when this clip will get you how ominous it sounds. So here it is.
Elizabeth Warren said earlier today that based on new reporting from Donna Brazil in a book that the 2016 primary was rigged. Do you agree?
I haven't read her book. I don't know the details, so I'm not going to make a judgment on that.
Do you have any concerns about the DNC's involvement in the primary in 2016?
Again, I didn't follow it. I'd like to see what Donna Brazil has to say. I will read it, but
Bernie Sanders has never complained about this to you before?
Oh, he's complained all the time.
Do you agree with him? Do you think his complaints are legitimate?
I've never mixed in much with the DNC. When I was senator, even now as leader, I like Tom Perez, and we work together, but he does his thing, I do my thing.
Okay, I'm going to put you down as a non-answer on that question.
Oh, really?
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. That was Chuck Schumer. I don't know who the interviewer was. Lady. And Chuck Schumer admits, I'm not going to give you an answer. Are you kidding? You want me to spill milk? Offer up dirty laundry on the Democrats? Give the Republicans ammunition that they're obviously going to use in a time when we need to negotiate for what we're trying to get? By the way, they're not trying to get anything for people. This tax bill is a slap in the face of the American people, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you could write the script. Do you really need to go to the Democrats on anything that Donald Trump does other than to say they hate it? That's the answer. You could take whatever Donald Trump has done, give it to Barack Obama, and suddenly the Democrats would be all for it. In fact, they'd be fighting for it. But you put Trump's name on it, and they're philosophically opposed. And they call this, politics in Washington. Are you kidding? Look, don't misunderstand me. I expect people to disagree. But to the level that they disagree, but let me tell you, folks, when you talk to these folks, Marie Scharf or Harf or whatever her name is, Barf, when you talk to people like her and other leftists that I've met when I'm up in New York, when I'm in D.C., people, you guys ask me all the time, Kevin, do they really believe it? And there are a couple of instances where I told you, nah, they don't. But in the majority of the instances, they believe it. They are the easiest triggered people. They have no sense of humor. They are so ideologically, to describe them is very difficult because you're a normal human being. If we're joking, and I say something like, hey, buddy, hey, like I said the other day about something like, if Barack Obama wore panties, they would tell men it would make you more manly to wear panties or something like that. Maybe I said it today. I don't know. But if a leftist heard me say that, they would be triggered in so many ways. What are you saying, Kevin, that men can't wear panties? Or why'd you pick panties? Are you trying to say something about women? They would go on and on. Are you trying to make the man gay? What, do you have a problem with gay people? They are going to find something wrong in everything that you say. And that's why, I don't know if you guys caught it when I was on TV on Outnumbered with Marie Harf. I made the comment to her. I said something. She said something about Trump. Well, he can blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, his story was unraveling about Russia. And I said, that's nonsense. I said, if there's anything unraveling, it's Hillary's skirt. Meaning that she's the one that's, the emperor will soon have no clothes. That was what was going through my head. And she goes, that's sexist. Immediately. And I went, no, it's not. And of course, Harris shut it off. But my comment was going to be, look, you can't have your cake and eat it too and be talking about sexism because what I said afterwards was what? Should I have said pantsuit? Which I thought was really funny. But, what are you talking about? See, we give them too much credit. We give them an inch, they take a mile. This woman is a vile human being that doesn't even want to listen to reason. It's funny when I shut her up, when I say things like, look, she asked me, what has Trump done? Well, what are you talking about? Okay, well, let's begin with Carrier. Then let's look at SoftBank. And I went through a whole litany of companies. And you know what she did? She sat there looking at me, and then she was like, oh, yeah, you don't even know. She's so busy not hearing anything positive about Trump. She's in this echo chamber of ignorance that when you finally start breaking down all these things, she's completely at a loss. And I talk about her often because she's such an idiot, but she was a member of our CIA. God, it's crazy. I don't even know where to go from here. But anyway, here's what I want to tell you about Chuck Schumer. He says he didn't follow the DNC in 2016. Are you kidding me? The president of the United States was in play, and he wants to pretend that he didn't know anything about what the DNC was up to. And I don't know, the difference, the lines of demarcation, and if he was on the inside. But it's kind of like everybody saying, I didn't know Weinstein was doing it. I look at it as the same lies. That's what the left does. Now, I don't know if you know about the Weinstein situation. They're saying that there were people who were paid to give this information. And we'll get into that for the Democrats as well with things that we are hearing that they did. But then she asked him, did Bernie Sanders complain? Yeah, but Bernie always complains. So he dismisses it as if, yeah, it's no big deal. But he goes on to say, and this is where he was in the lie, yeah, well, Tom Perez, we work together, we do this. So you do work with the DNC. You pretty much intimated earlier that, no, I kind of know. I know who they are. I know they exist. I mean, it's not like I'm, hanging out with them or anything. I mean, come on. And then finally, the most ominous part of that interview was where she says, I'm just going to put that down as a non-answer. And Chuck's, you think? So in other words, he's telling you, I'm not going to answer this. This is a public servant to the people being asked, do you believe there was collusion in the DNC? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think the Republicans would have been a whole lot different. But I want to tell you something about you and me. This audience. See, that's the difference between us. That's the reason why we sent Donald Trump to drain the swamp. If Donald Trump's team had done things like that, if he found out that collusion was happening and Donald Trump got asked that, he would have said, yeah, I do believe the RNC colluded against so-and-so. I don't think it would have been even a question of, do I admit that this happened? I mean, I'm not saying he's complicit, and I'm just saying somebody ancillary to this should have no problem. If you're representing the American people, you should have no problem saying, you know what? I believe Donna Brazile. She's represented us very well. But what did Chuck do? He left that black chick flailing in the wind.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Donna Brazile has refused witness protection. Oh, man. She doesn't know what to do these days. And I sort of feel sorry for her. And I'll tell you why. She is a woman who has dedicated herself to the Democratic Party. She reminds me of the former Barbara Jordan, just not nearly as smart as Barbara Jordan. But then how smart can anybody who's a Democrat be? The only thing I will say that Barbara Jordan, well, I can't even give her credit for that because the party that was oppressing her was the party that she was for even in the 60s. Now, Donna Brazile has had plenty of time to look at what's been going on. And again, I don't understand why people can vote Democrat. I just don't, especially black folks. But they do, and they do it in droves. But Donna Brazile does remind me in many ways of Barbara Jordan. Their presence, if you will, even though Jordan had a much more commanding presence. I remember my grandparents, if Barbara Jordan came on TV, it was be quiet, shut the heck up. But Donna Brazile, I tell you, she's, if you heard her comment, she said something like, y'all can all go to HE double cricket socks if you're expecting this or that. And she's changed so many times now, right? She's kind of gone back and forth on what her thoughts are around this thing. I mean, first of all, she comes out and she makes a statement about her book and says, Hillary Clinton ripped off Bernie Sanders, and she's right. She caught heat. Everybody got mad at her. So then she blames Trump. She pulled a Weinstein. Donald Trump did it, and then I'm going to go after the NRA. And then that didn't work. I believe, quite honestly, she was threatened. Then she came back, and maybe I can only believe somebody propped her up and said, look, Donna, you've gone down this path. There is no backing out. You got to go for it. I know it's a tough road to hoe. The left are not used to going on their own. They're not used to not having all the accolades come their way. They are not used to contrarian views. Donna has always toed the line, and now she wants to tell the truth, and they're mad at her. So she fired back, and the only thing I can think is some very rich person said to her, you keep fighting the fight, I got your back. So she's still fighting the fight. But there's no putting the genie back in the bottle of her revealing the crooked nature of the Democratic Party and the DNC, and specifically the Clinton campaign. And when President Trump seized on these revelations, because they validated what he said all along about the Democratic machine, that's when things started going awry for Donna Brazile. Now, she had to know this was going to happen, right? This didn't sneak up on her. It's a book that's been out there. She let a couple of people read it, and they probably said, ooh, girl, you're gonna catch a little heat for this. But you'll sell a lot of books. But you don't get rich in the book business. I mean, unless you are Stephen King or what's the chick that wrote Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. It's not easy to not at their level. If Donna wants to make a couple $1 million off her book, I don't know. What do you think her advance would be? I mean, you may not know. I'd be curious. We should probably Google it because I bet they know. But if it's a couple $1 million for her advance, I'd be shocked if it was more than that. But if it was a couple $1 million for her advance, then good for her. But that's not enough for D.C. people to live on. If Donna lowered her standard of living, she might. But you better know some high level phone calls came after Donna's revelation in this book. And I wouldn't be surprised if Barack Obama called her and they told her, look, you got to back off of this. You got to know, Donna, people have been killed for less. So when Donald Trump used her own words, they looked at that. I'm talking about the powers that be in the Democratic Party and said, you've allowed Donald Trump to use you. Now, what's funny about it is the left tells you who they are, right? They were telling Donna, you've allowed us to use you, but it's backfired. So now we are forced to throw you under the bus unless you do something. So then Brazil comes out and says, that was doggone Donald Trump misusing my words. And, people are going, Donna, they're still there. It's the same words. You can't retract what you've written in a book. Now, leftists saw through this ruse. As I said, it was very Weinstein-esque for Donna to come back the next day and say, no, I didn't say that. And Donald Trump, he took my words out of context, and I'm going after Donald Trump. Good luck with that strategy. You know how many bodies lay in the wake of those who say, I'm going to get me Donald Trump? And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, I've worked with business people who are as smart, if not smarter than Trump. He doesn't have some Svengali-like spell over me. I'm just giving you the truth. Lesser people, or I should say, people that think that they can get over with Donald Trump because they feel that he's not intelligent or whatever. The freeway is lined with roadkill that looks like that. Brazil got caught red-handed, telling people, that the truth, and then backtracking, and it didn't work out. And when I think about what's going on with Donna Brazil, I remember that scene in Roots. It's iconic because Kunta Kinte is being harassed by one of the white masters, and they tell him, they're going to give him a whipping. So they string him up and they start whipping him. Kunta Kinte is played by LeVar Burton. Whip him. What's your name, boy? What's your name? Kunta Kinte. And then he gets whipped almost to death, and it finally cracked the whip. And next thing he says is, what's your name, boy? He's telling him your name is Toby. And then he finally says, Toby. And he goes, say it louder so everybody can hear you. My name is Toby. So he had broken him. That's essentially what happened here. Chuck Schumer was asked point blank, what do you think about Donna Brazil? And Chuck Schumer declined to answer. You know why he did it? Because he knows Brazil is telling the truth. But he can't not protect that white woman elitist. I'm just telling you, the Democrats need to recognize, you need to send this clip to every one of your Democratic friends, every one of your black Democrat friends particularly, and say, listen to what Kevin Jackson's telling you. They had an opportunity to fess up, to clean up their party. A black woman who loves the party, we're not talking a right-wing conspiracy, points out the inconsistencies. She says, number one, Hillary Clinton cheated. She was in collusion. And why was she in collusion? Because the black dude that we had before, he left us broke. And oh, by the way, the guy who whistleblowed on what was going on inside of a lot of this operation is dead. And Donna Brazil's like, what more am I going to find if I keep looking? So she's revealed what's happening inside of the DNC in her book called Hacked. And people are mad, and now she's got it. She's an escaped slave, or, she's a slave, and they're going to put her on a whipping post, and she's going to keep on getting whipped until she finally says, my name is Toby. That's the way I view this. Because you got to think about when she backtracked. Well, so she told her story. Trump took her story and made something out of it. She then jumps on Trump. Then, because of other people telling her to do it, then she caught so much flack for that, probably from black folks, going, man, that's cold what you did, Donna. You backtracking and all this, man. Whatever. I don't know what happened. And then so she comes back again, fired up. This time it appears to be at the left. But I want to go back to this Seth Rich thing. She says this. She describes her mounting anxiety about Russia's theft of emails and other data from DNC servers, a slow process of discovering the full extent of the cyber attacks and the personal fallout. She likens the feeling to have rats in your basement. You take measures to get rid of them, but knowing they're there or have been there means you never feel truly at peace. She says that she's haunted by the still unsolved murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich and feared for her own life, shedding the blinds to her office and windows so snipers could not see her. This woman's scared of her own party. She says she wonders whether Russians had placed a listening device in plants in the DNC executive suite. No, they didn't have to. They had Hillary Clinton. Anyway, she told the critics to go to HE double crooked socks because I think she's feeling the pressure.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255. Jot that down. You may just want to give us a call. Hey, today, yet again, I choose to be a human being. Now, you may be saying, Kevin, what are you talking about? Do you have a choice? Oh, yeah, I do. I can declare to be whatever I want to be. I could declare to be a horse today, and you had better treat me like a horse or I will take you to court. But I choose to be a human being today. And in fact, I'm going to go further. At first, when I woke up this morning, I thought, do I want to be human or what do I want to be? I mean, I'm watching the way my dog lives. You know, yesterday was pick up poop day, and he watched me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little rascal just sat there and went, And after this, you're going to feed me. You're going to water me. You're going to give me some love. You're going to throw me my soccer ball. And then we're going to do it all over again. Rinse and repeat, Kevin. So I could have woken up today and said, you know what? I'm going to be my dog today. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take a dump. And I'm going to watch somebody in my house come clean it up. That's right. But I choose to be human today. I further choose to be a man. No, hold on. A straight man. Yeah, straight. Oh, I could have chosen a lot of things. I could have chosen to be gay. I could have chosen to be a man trapped in a lesbian's body, which I am a double lesbian. We've already determined this. And I am a member of the Not Gay, having come out, 6 years ago now? What is it? You guys remember? No, it hadn't been that long, right? 4 years? 4 years ago? Okay, 4 years. I came out not gay, started the NGMW movement, the Not Gay Man-Woman movement. We have our own flag. That's right, the NGMW. I'm going to make that big one of these days. I swear I will. I believe God wants me to do it. Yeah. Speaking of which, I came out Christian today. I could have, well, I didn't come out, but I'm declaring Christian today. I could have chosen lots of religions. Yeah, I could have. I'm a Protestant. I didn't choose Catholics. No offense, Catholics or Jews. Yeah, no offense, but hey, God forbid, Allah forbid the Muslims. No, I choose to be a Christian. I'm not done. I told you I chose to be human, and I chose to be a man, a straight man. I choose to be black today. Oh, don't go there, Dolezal. I could have chosen whatever I wanted. I'm choosing black. Just for the day. I want to try it out. You know, you got to kick the tires. So I'm choosing black today. I don't know. What are you going to choose? What do you guys choose? Are you declaring today? Should I just make assumptions or do you declare? Because, see, here's the way the world used to work. When I got up, my grandmother would say to me, boy, get your butt out of bed, make a bed, go get that room cleaned up. And I would be like, what? Don't be talking to me like I'm some human black man, straight kid that you can boss around up in here. Yeah. In the old days, I didn't have to declare. People knew, at least the ones who knew me, they knew me to be a Bible-thumping, God-fearing, gun-toting, America-loving black human being. Okay? That's just the way it was. I don't know how it was at y'all's house. Maybe it was the same way. You know, taking away a few little tidbits here and there, a few adjectives to describe you, but I didn't have to declare. Yeah, flawed Christian. I woke up this morning and went, ooh, Kevin, you're a flawed Christian. But you know what? I didn't have the urge to chop off anybody's heads, you know, of non-believers, so I couldn't choose Muslim. And I vowed not to persecute the white man for his privilege despite my blackness. And also women and children, you're safe. I want no part of you. I've got 4, not 4 women, 4 kids. I've got 4 kids. 3 of them are grown, so I only have 1 that's in the house. He's enough. I don't want any more. No more women, no more childrens. Anyway, that's my life. That's how I woke up this morning feeling. I don't know how you felt. I'm just curious. I'm only trying to inspire thought because you know what? We live in a time where you can pick and choose the things you want to be. It's a cafeteria style of what lifestyle you want to live. At least that's what the left tells me. See, when I get up in the morning and I start reading my messages and all the hate mail, Kevin, you coon, this, you black this, you Sambo, you stepping fast. And I think to myself, holy cow, these people don't even know what I've declared. Tool of the white man. What do you mean tool of the white man? Today I could choose to be white. Somebody talking to me, you crazy men over on the right. That's not me. I'm a lesbian today. Isn't it funny how it works? See, that's the thing about the left. When they do stuff wrong, you don't know where to fire. Harvey Weinstein, how do you fire at a guy like that? Harvey, here's my suggestion for Harvey Weinstein. I know this may seem old news, but this is very appropriate for the time. Harvey should say he's a woman. Or he should say he's a Muslim man instead of a Jewish man. Things would change. The dynamics of Harvey Weinstein would change quite a bit. Maybe he should change his name to, Ahmed Mohammed. What would be the Weinstein of Arab names? Ahmed Wajabi. Anyway, if he changed his name, if he became Muslim, they would look at him very differently. It's a cultural thing. Isn't that what they say in Sweden, in Norway, and all throughout Scandinavia with all this rape culture of the Muslims? I mean, come on. Look, ladies, they're culturally different. Don't be going around them. If you're raped, you have to understand the way they're raised. Well, geez. Wouldn't we all like to live like that? Understand the way they're raised. So if I grew up poor in the hood, if I come to your house and steal stuff, don't report it. No, that's the way Kevin was raised. I just walk into Scandinavian's house and go, "Hey, where's your wallet, Sven?" Shoot, unbelievable. Look, there's a lot to talk about today. I joke about this stuff, but I really and truly, this is serious stuff. This is the world we live in now, crazy world of leftism. And boy, do we have stuff to talk about. Manafort, in a strange way, is going to remain in the news for quite a while until the shoe falls on the left.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. The president is in his whirlwind tour through Asia, the South Pacific, and he's rocking it. He started out in Japan, then he went to South Korea. Very powerful message that he's sending. I will visit our partners before I visit China. And let me tell you, Japan, important trade partner. They hold, I don't know the exact number. I know it's trillions of dollars of debt, of American debt, but they have a $70 billion deficit to the United States in terms of trade. That's an annual number. We buy a lot of Japanese products, still always have and probably always will. But then he left Japan and he went to South Korea. And what's significant about that is another big trading partner. Korea, let me give you the Japan numbers because I've talked about these before on TV and we should talk about them here. Japan is a response. They're about 1.68% of the world's population, but they are 8% of the world's GDP. That's a big number. Per capita, that makes them a very, very strong trading partner. Korea is about 2.3% of the world's GDP. And so you can see a good chunk, a decent sized chunk. I don't know the population of South Korea, but it's significant. And but anyway, it's a decent sized trading partner. And as you guys probably notice when you go into Best Buy and some of these electronics places, it's dominated by Korean products. So Japan to even hold its own while Korea is coming up is pretty significant. And those are two of our big partners that we provide lots of protection for, but their economies are booming because they follow the nature of America, and their economies are booming. So between those two, we're talking about 10% of the world's GDP. United States is a quarter of the world's GDP. And of course, now let's pivot over to China. And that's another 25% or so of the world's GDP. And you're talking about a significant portion of what is going on in the world happening right there. We're talking about 63% of the GDP. It's very easy to wrangle in a Russia when you have that kind of power located right there. North Korea, the only thing they offer is a threat. And it's a minuscule threat. It's being overblown, overhyped by the media in order to diminish President Trump's capabilities over there by saying, well, they're really big and we better pay attention. And look at him. He's neglecting them. Donald Trump knows exactly how big North Korea is. They're a fly in the ointment at best. And so if he can wrangle China, which he will be able to, because that $347 billion deficit that is part of their economy of shipping products to the United States can easily be replaced. Yeah, I said it. It can easily be replaced. People go, oh, Kevin, you can't get things made cheaper than in China. The stuff that we get made in China, we can get made anywhere. China isn't making stuff that we're like, oh, how are we going to get these stupid lead-filled toys? And somebody can step in and make our junk. And here's the thing, the Chinese don't have, it's not like they go, well, if the Americans won't buy our lead-filled junky toys, we'll sell them to Africa. No, there's no other, where are you going to buy, where are you going to sell them? I mean, I don't know about you. How much cheaper can you get, MP players and all? Everything's being integrated. It's all practically in your phone. Believe me, manufacturing is not going to be all that it's cracked up to be in the next decade. And the Chinese need to realize that. And we realize it. The productivity is going to come elsewhere. And that's going to derive from the places that follow the American system. I talked about ingenuity the other day. That's where that comes in. But anyway, Russia's big, the thing that props up their GDP is their oil. Their ability to, the pipelines that service Europe and Poland, various places in Europe, and they can hold them hostage over that. The Chinese have a lot of oil. And if Donald Trump decides I'm going to make Russia my enemy by going after these oil, then believe me, he can make it rough on Russia. I've already talked about how big the economy is. Our GDP of our partners. You want to know what the GDP is of the Soviet Union, of Russia? It's not the Soviet Union anymore. The largest country by land mass, Russia, has an economy that's 1/10 the size of the United States. 1/10. When you start talking about superpowers, it's very difficult to put Russia in the mix. Other than missiles, if you want to destroy everything, congratulations, Russia's up there. They're a superpower. They're 1/10 our economy. The Chinese economy, which is equal, it's the largest GDP in the world in terms of actual number. It's like slightly ahead of us, maybe by half of a percentage point. So we're at 24.8, they're at 25.2, something like that, okay? But when you factor in the idea that China has, 5 times more people than the United States, then you put that GDP in perspective, because GDP is based on productivity of people. So the Chinese are 1/5 as productive as the United States. And what's that going to do as we start to recycle and bring manufacturing and things back to America, when we can become even more self-sufficient, where these trade imbalances begin to go away? They've already started. We've already started rectifying our trade imbalance with Canada. We've started rectifying our trade imbalance with China. We're now exporting beef to China. We couldn't do that before. We're exporting coal to China. They used to get that from North Korea. So as these trade imbalances shift back, then you'll see America will start to revitalize its engine. And people who are working and earning money will be willing to pay a little bit more for something. And here's the thing about manufacturing. The issue with manufacturing is it gets much more easy to do. In other words, once you automate something to the point where you don't need people, you don't have to do it in China. We don't have a whole lot of labor-intensive stuff. Now, if you do a bunch of one-offs, China's good. And I'm just saying the Chinese market is a great market. I'm not knocking it. A lot of the products that you're going to want to get, the products like that Alibaba will be bringing to the million jobs that he says he can create in America, are going to be specialty items like bobblehead dolls or whatever. You're going to want to get something done quickly. But look, 3D printing, manufacturing, it's all going to be something that can come back on shore. And as long as we stabilize our dollar, and stabilize our economy, we can move a lot of that GDP back and change these trade deficits. So President Trump's trip to the Far East is really a show of force. It's a show of, look at the places where you want to do business, China. You want to sell to Japan. You want to sell to South Korea. You want to sell to America. Those are the largest economies per capita in the world. You better play along. And don't think this isn't going unnoticed on in the world stage. Trump doesn't want to fight with you. He's going to fight with you with our economy. Anyway, short break. We'll be back here.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
You talked about wanting to put extreme vetting on people trying to come into the United States, but I wonder if you would consider extreme vetting for people trying to buy a gun.
Well, you know, you're bringing up a situation that probably shouldn't be discussed too much right now, but it's okay if you feel that that's an appropriate question, even though we're the heart of South Korea. If you did what you're suggesting, there would have been no difference 3 days ago, and you might not have had that very brave person who happened to have a gun or a rifle in his truck go out and shoot him and hit him and neutralize him. And I can only say this, if he didn't have a gun, instead of having 26 dead, he would have had hundreds more dead.
And are you considering any kind of gun control policy going forward?
When you look at the city with the strongest gun laws in our nation is Chicago. Mm-hmm. And Chicago is a disaster. If this man didn't have a gun or a rifle, you'd be talking about a much worse situation in the great state of Texas.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I love that President Trump has no problem chastising these idiot reporters. Really, that's what you want to ask me? I'm in South Korea. You don't have questions about what's going on here? What's going to be our posture with our trading partners? You know, say real questions, things that the people in America want to know, the world want to know. You want to try to politicize a shooting. I mean, I'll tell you this. If the left were to talk about all of the Muslim beheadings and killings in the world that don't involve guns, just involve them chopping off people's heads, mass graves all over the place, how many questions would they ask? You couldn't even hold a press conference. But you have a shooting in Texas, which, by the way, and I love that Donald Trump did not back down. It's like these climate change knuckleheads that were, emboldened under Obama, and suddenly they're like, he won't say anything about climate change. Yeah, because he's not stupid. You finally got a president who says, look, I get that you got your little pet projects and you've been feathering your nest with this stuff, but those days are done. Freaking love it. The gun control nuts. No, those days are done. You're done. Boop, over. So I got to tell you, I'm loving this. President's on to the next location in Asia, and when it's all said and done, I've said this, a couple things. When it's all said and done, you're going to watch the trade deficit go from $500 billion down to $350 billion. It's not going to get wiped out. We're using our trade to manage world affairs, and what Donald Trump is doing is he's going around. When he meets with China, he meets with Xi. He's going to say, okay. Look, I understand you have your interest. You're not going to control any area of the world any more than we control any area of the world. We aren't trying to control areas of the world. But what you're going to do is you're going to deal with our trading partners in an amicable way, or else you're not going to be dealing with us. And I keep coming back to, with China, we are on par in terms of relative size of GDP. Problem is we're much more efficient. Now, they would argue, well, you have a lot more chance to sell to us than we do to you because they have, a lot of people that can potentially eat our beef and things like that. Perhaps. But the things that you want to sell, our market is ripe for it. And so the better our economy is, the more availability of money and things for you to have the expendable income. That's what you have to have. The better. Chinese don't have expendable income. The average person doesn't. So that's how it is. And then the second part of it is, how about we grow the world economy? How about we create more middle-class Chinese that want to buy our beef and our coal and have need of our products? How about we create more middle-class people? See, what we've looked at is the pie is a certain size. Donald Trump saying the pie is a certain size, but it can be bigger. And if we help other people do other things, it will be bigger and we can all flourish. But we haven't done that. Anyway, I want to go back to the gun control thing. The church shooter in Texas, the gentleman, the guy who shot the people up, the leftist, atheist, wife-beating, child abuser, dishonorably discharged. Oh, yeah. Have I not given you enough clues that this dude is a leftist who went into a church in order to shoot his in-laws because he's got an anger management problem? And the left want to make gun control the issue here. They don't want you to know he's a sick dude. They don't want you to know that Obama's Air Force did not send his records over to say he's a volatile person, likely to kill people, and should not be able to purchase a gun. You know, not that it would have mattered because he probably would have gotten one illegally. But that's who we're dealing with. That's who the left wants to make their poster child for gun control. That's like making Michael Brown your poster child for civil rights. So predictable. And I don't know. I don't get mad at this stuff. I really don't. I find it disgusting because people like us, conservatives, we get up in the morning looking for solutions, and those solutions don't have to have R's and D's behind it. Think about what we did on November the 8th not November the 8th, prior to that, when we selected Donald Trump. Some of you maybe didn't like Donald Trump, but at the end of the day, we chose a non-establishment candidate, and then we got him elected. We didn't do what the left did, who still to this day back a cheater. We didn't do that. Right now, to this day, we fight against the Republicans that supposedly represent us. Ask the average Republican, do you like Mitch McConnell? And they go, no. Ask the average Republican, do you like Paul Ryan? No. We don't see them as effective. We see them as the enemy. Ask the average Democrat. They like Pelosi. They like Chuck Schumer. They like all the people. They love Hillary Clinton. They still love Barack Obama. At least they're publicly, that's what they tell you. They don't fight against the system. Even right now, the powers that be are rallying around Hillary Clinton. Now, she's losing. I mean, she's losing a lot of power fast. The air is... to say that, I mean, well, you could just go say they let you know how you blow up a balloon and you squeeze it together to hold it in until you can tie the knot? Well, somebody just kind of let it go and it go, brrr. Well, that's what's going on. The air is being quickly let out of the balloon, but there are still people that support Hillary Clinton. They're still afraid. I mean, think about that. If Donald Trump had been involved to the degree that Hillary Clinton is in any way, he would not be president. I guarantee you, we would have revolted. Pick any candidate. We wouldn't be rallying around him. And another thing, you can be doggone skippy that Paul Ryan nor Mitch McConnell would be rallying around Trump if there were any hints around Russia that were real and all that. And in fact, people like McCain tried to orchestrate it so that it looked that Donald Trump was guilty of doing something with the Russians. That's how conniving these guys are. So we prove time and time and again is through the Tea Party movement, which, by the way, still remains the most respected group in politics. I don't care what they tell you when they tell you things like, oh, the Tea Party, they got a bad name and this, that, and the other. The Tea Party is the most respected name in politics. Don't you forget it. Why do you think when I purchased Tea Party Community and we started rebranding and rebuilding it, why do you think I didn't change the name? Because there's no need to. People will know exactly what we stand for, and we will not run from that name. period. So when people, Kevin, I like it, but I'd just like you to change the name. Well, hey, I tell you what, change your name. Yeah, see, it sounds silly, right? You got scoundrels in your family. I don't know you, but I guarantee you got scoundrels. We go back far enough. I'll get you some dirt. Change your name. No, it's your lineage. But here's the thing about the Tea Party. There is no dirt. It's a country founded because we were taxed. Taxed enough already. Tea Party. So they threw the tea in the thing and boom. Now, the country itself, you can go, oh, Kevin, the country's done a lot of bad things. Yeah, and what country hasn't? So why is it that everybody clamors to get here to this terrible country? To be around all you terrible conservatives? Because you're not a terrible people, and this isn't a terrible country. And I'm not going to let you self-deprecate. Met a young lady, I was on the plane, a cute girl, Jewish girl, young, said lives with her parents and all that. We were talking. She's a big fan of me. And she saw me and was like, oh my gosh. And she called me David Webb and a bunch of other things before she finally figured out who I was. But she is a fan. She knew Fox through and through. And the whole time she just kept saying, oh my gosh, I wish I had on makeup. Like, okay, well, what was that going to do? You know, like I'm going to judge you. Wish I'd met you when you had on makeup. You know, it was funny to me. But so anyway, she said she wished she had on makeup. And, you know, she said, you know, she just kept talking like, you know, like everything she said was sort of self-doubt. And I go, look, you shouldn't talk that way. You got a lot of qualities. So just give it a break. But you could tell something's beating her down. Maybe she was in college and it was, you know, she felt, I don't know. But I was like, give it a break. You're a good person.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Telling Fox News, our own Catherine Herridge, that the House Intelligence Committee is now asking Fusion GPS, that's the company behind the fake, phony, anti-Trump Russian dossier, to turn over records that allegedly show payments to journalists to publish stories. Wow. You talk about first Russia propaganda, Hillary, the DNC that she ran, she paid for it all. And then, of course, the group that used it, now they're saying, hey, let's pay the journalists. Now, keep in mind, the same company that they used to funnel $10 million or more through a third-party lawyer to create the dossier that used Russian sources to smear the president and try and influence the American people with phony Russian information to steal an election. And on the issue of so-called Trump-Russia collusion, tonight, yet another prominent Democrat forced to admit a year later she has seen nothing to indicate there was any collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians. Here's Democrat, Senator, liberal, leftist Dianne Feinstein.
Have you seen any evidence that this dirt, these emails, were ever given to the Trump campaign?
Not so far.
Not so far. Have you seen any communications that suggested that the Trump campaign wanted them to release them through a different means? Because obviously they were ultimately released by WikiLeaks.
No, I have not.
If the Democrats and the left-wing media in this country cared even a little bit about the truth, then they would stop spreading lies about President Trump. And now they should focus on real Russia collusion, real crime, real evidence, real impropriety.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. What a story, right? What a revelation. What if this turns out to be true. Leftist reporters taking bribes to report on, quote, Russian interference. Would you be shocked? I wouldn't be shocked. I, quite frankly, find it very plausible that this happened. Think about how the left sold us on this. News report after news report, Russian collusion between the Trump campaign, and there's nothing there. And Donald Trump's going, I've got nothing to do with him. Yeah, but he does. And look at this. And there's another thing over here. And look over here. And he said Russia one time. It was to the point of ridiculous. And quite frankly, it remains that. I wonder if Mueller is aware that the possibility exists that Fusion GPS, who has been contracted with by the DNC, the Clinton campaign, and even Obama. When I said on TV that Obama, this could lead back to Obama, think about this. He paid this group of people to do what they called opposition research. We've moved now from opposition research to out and out conspiracy to influence an election, to influence the media. I want to see how they dig out of this rat hole. I don't know how you guys feel. Such is the way of the left. I wouldn't necessarily blame the left, these reporters, for accepting bribes. Now you're going, Kevin, what are you talking about? No, I wouldn't. These leftist reporters were probably told, now look, we want to win this election. You're in the bag with us. Now we want to pay you to write stories about the Russian narrative. And they're like, we are in the bag with you, but we feel bad. And they go, well, it's either that or, you wake up, you don't wake up tomorrow because you've died from suicide, 2 bullets to the back of the head. You know what? I think I'll take that money. They may have been given a choice they couldn't refuse. I'm just saying, I'm not even joking about this. There may be people that go, you know what? My choice, I know if I had done it, I'd be testifying for the FBI. I'd say, look, here's the deal. I could either not do it and be dead, or feather my nest and still be alive, and at least be able to tell you that they've put the fear of God in me. But I'm alive. At least I'm alive to testify. Because let me tell you, you don't play around with these people. I'd let them off the hook. I wouldn't let them off the hook ethically, but I'd let them off the hook in terms of, I'm not going to charge you with criminal activity, but you can't be in, you can't write anymore. I hope they paid you enough. Anyway, according to the Washington Times, the roles of reporters is taking on added importance in federal court battles over the infamous Russia dossier that leveled unverified charges of collusion against the Donald Trump campaign. I'm really curious. I want to see how outnumbered Marie Harf handles this potential explosive news, to learn that leftist reporters may very well have been faking the news of the Russian narrative in order to help Hillary Clinton get elected. What say you, Marie Harf? No, she's not going to become my new whipping boy. She would say, I find that sexist. In the U.S. District Court in D.C., Fusion DPS, the dossier's financier via the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton campaign money, is fighting a House committee chairman's bid to find out if the opposition research firm paid journalists. Now, let me tell you something. Here's what I suspect. I'm just giving you a little bit of my own inside, what's going on here. I suspect somebody tipped them off. Because we hadn't been talking about paying of journalists. We've been talking about who financed the dossier and why are you keeping all this information private. Somebody tipped them off. This is the type of thing that I'm glad to see start to occur. Man, in U.S. District Court in Florida, a self-described dossier victim wants a judge to order the news website BuzzFeed, which published the dossier in full, to disclose who gave it to them. So there's 2 cases in district court where the left is going to have to fess up. They say these cases underscore how a Moscow-sourced memorandum created in opposition research against Donald Trump in the presidential campaign last year often dictates the debate about politics and the reporters' rights in Washington. See, they crafted this debate. Now, let me give you a little tidbit of something that I'm thinking about doing. I had a guy send me a thing. He says, Kevin, think about this. They've orchestrated this Russia story. You think it's the first time it happened? So he sends me something. He says, remember when McCain ran against Obama? And people were wondering what was the straw that broke the, you guys are probably too young, but the straw that broke the camel's back with McCain, I'm talking about my producers. I'm not talking about you in the audience. You're probably too young. You in the audience, you're like me. We're a little longer in the tooth. But McCain was said to have lost the election when the financial crisis occurred, or supposed financial crisis. And McCain, the day before, had said something along the lines that we're doing fine. And then 2 days later, the cake hits the fan. Or did it? That was the question. So one of my buddies put together this connect the dots type thing, and we may end up posting it. It's a long post, but it's worth the read. But the contention is that these guys have done this more than once. Now, why didn't this work? Why didn't the narrative of the Russians and the reporters are stacked against Donald Trump and they've asked for a special prosecutor, etc.? Why didn't it work? I'm just giving you a second to think about it, because you know the answer. The reason it didn't work is for the reason that I said, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago. I said, unless the Republicans get a candidate who's got no skin in the game, he's not worried about you going after his personal life. He's not worried about his professional life. He's a guy that's willing to stand up and fight under whatever circumstances. We will not win. And I'll be doggone. God went, you know what, KJ? You're on the right path there, broski. And we got Donald Trump. Fist pump to God. Boop, there we go. So that's what we needed. Because the only way you're going to survive the gauntlet of political, the beast, the system that's in play, is if you have somebody that says, I don't care. I don't care. I've told many candidates. I talked to a candidate the other day who, a different one than I've talked about before, brand new, contacted me, and I said, hey, are you willing to just not apologize? Because that's what it takes. The Democrats have enough to worry about, but I'm going to tell you something, folks. This explains why Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails, bleach bitted her hard drive, smashed her cell phones, and lied before the FBI and Congress. Fusion GPS needed to keep a lid on the activities. This is why we have to make FOIA requests in order to get any information out of these guys, because they needed to keep a lid on this. This is a huge story, folks. This is big. Imagine if it turns out that CNN, Washington Post, the New York Times, all these people have reporters who have been writing fake news in order to influence your thought process around Donald Trump.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Find it for us. Why did they lose? Was it, at the end of the day, arrogance?
Yes, Joe. It was a cult. I felt like it was a cult. You could not penetrate them.
Gail, what did you say to Miss Millie?
I said, hell. For those who are telling me to shut up, they told Hillary that a couple of months ago. You know what I tell them? Go to hell. I'm going to tell my story.
You don't think anybody cares about her story?
Nobody cares.
I'm sorry. All I heard was blah, blah, blah. I'm a dirty tramp.
Ah, welcome. You probably don't get the reference to that girl, the guy going, what'd you say to her? She says, I told her, go to, he slaps her. That was from The Color Purple. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here to another hour of the Kevin Jackson Show. Oh, my gosh. So much going on. Donna Brazile in the news. Donna doesn't know which way to go because she could die. She could die. Oh, the Clintons don't play. And the Democrats are mad at her. They're actually mad at her. Joy Behar said something really interesting. She asked her, what did she say to her? Something. Well, here, let's play the clip because I'd like to discuss that. That's what we can discuss right now.
Well, today, why are you giving red meat to Trump's side?
You know, a lot of people ask me that question.
Why not have a week next week?
That's an interesting clip because what Joy Behar is saying is, why are you bringing out the truth now? Why can't you wait? Why don't you wait till after the election? This is the Virginia governor's election, which apparently the Democrats eked out. But why don't you wait? And the thing about it is what Joy Behar is telling people is I don't care about the truth. Our ideology has to win out. Look, think about this. Donna Brazile has revealed to the Democrats that there is a corrupt system at play that got Hillary Clinton elected. They don't care. Donna Brazile revealed to the Democrats that Barack Obama is a narcissist who was caught up in his own self-worth, who drove the DNC into $24 million of debt. He was toxic by the end of his campaign. She's admitting this and then saying that the Democrats are cheaters and scoundrels. And Joy Behar says, well, why are you telling them now? Wait till after the election. Wait until after we elect yet another cheater and a scoundrel. Think about that. Would you do if I were interviewing Donna Brazile and she revealed to me that the Republicans had been crooks? I would say, Donna, what took so long? Why weren't we sounding the alarm bell earlier on? Your book is important. I'm so happy you wrote it. Holy cow, the reveal of what's going on inside of the Republican Party is crazy. I'm ashamed of them. On and on. Joy Behar offered no shame. Harvey Weinstein. Look at everything that these guys, the scandals that break right before our eyes. And you know what they go? I didn't know. And then they go, yeah, but everybody kind of knew. Okay, well, I mean, we kind of knew, but we weren't really sure. Really? And then you find out, oh, look at all the people who did know. What do you say to them, Joy? But then once you find out, do they say, wow, what a horrible thing that's been going on in Hollywood? How could this, what do we need to do to make sure this never happens again? We've been running around sanctimonious, acting as if we're the ones that are the purveyors of all things moral and so on and so forth. We're the protectors of women and the protectors of children when in fact pedophiles run amok in our industry and so on and so. They said none of this. They look for ways to cover. Let's not break any more of stories about directors and producers and agents and all that are molesting people and raping people and doing the casting couch. Let's not do any more. We could ruin our industry. What would we be doing as conservatives? Would we let pedophiles off? There'd be many things we would be doing to stop what's going on. The corrections that have occurred, for example, in normal capitalism have occurred because conservatives said enough is enough. It dates back to slavery, if you really want to know about it, when the Republicans said, enough is enough, guys. You can't treat people like this. And all the civil rights legislation that led to humanized black people, enough is enough, Democrats. You can't treat people like this. If this were going on in Hollywood, we would be the ones, conservatives would be the ones sounding the alarm bell, saying, look, Harvey Weinstein is a lecherous leftist. We must stop this. We're the ones who do this. You want to know why? Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Because we believe in something bigger than us. See, if you don't believe in something bigger than you, if you're the biggest thing out there, what does it matter what I do to you? It's like in the Bible, it says God gave man dominion over the animals. I'm not saying you mistreat animals, but we don't have an obligation to animals because they provide for us. They're our food. They're our clothing. They're, lots of different things that we do. Doesn't mean we can mistreat them. but it means that they're there for us. I would not dare kill a human being and say, whoa, it's going to be some good leather, and decide I'm going to have a meal. Oh, I love the loins on the little babies. But that's what the left does because they feel like they have dominion over you. The reason why they can treat us so badly, so poorly, is the left believes we are servants to them. That's why they treat black people the way they do, and Hispanics and women. They have dominion over them. See, they don't want to admit that. Harvey Weinstein had dominion over women, and there were women willing to give it to him. I'm not talking about just the tatas. I'm talking about give him that dominion. There are women, more women help prop Harvey Weinstein up or set these other women up than men. He would get some young woman to bring these young girls in and say, hey, Harvey will be right with you. I'm going to step out now. You think they didn't know? Of course they knew. You think that Joy Behar and the View women don't know exactly what the Democrats do? You'd be crazy not to think that they don't know. They know. They know and they don't care. And then they want to point the finger at us. Ooh, look at those sanctimonious. We're not sanctimonious. We know we're flawed. But you know what? If we were in Hollywood, it wouldn't exist. If there were more conservatives in Hollywood, you wouldn't get away with that crap because we wouldn't let you. We'd blow the whistle. We're the whistleblowers. You know what happens to whistleblowers with the left, right? They got to move to Russia. They got to hide and run for their lives. Anyway, I take a short break. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. 48,000 felons used illegal guns in the year 2010. 44 people were prosecuted on gun charges, federal prosecution on gun charges. 44,000 criminals used guns. 44 were prosecuted. That's like the death penalty. Like we get like 24,000 people on the death penalty every year, something like that. Pardon me. And we execute less than 100. Texas is called the death penalty state because it executes, 30, 40 people a year on death row. And they call it the death penalty state. I mean, do the math and ask yourself, if you had 24,000 people that committed crimes that required capital punishment, okay, and you killed 100 every year. So 24. Let me put it to you this way. More people die on death row, never having died by lethal injection or any other way, died of natural causes, than will ever be killed by the actual act of lethal injection or whatever form of death they decide. We'll never catch up. Just the way it works. So, and the people know this, but what do? We got to talk about and I'm going back to the guns. 48,000 felons used illegal guns in 2010. 44 people prosecuted on gun charges. So for all intents and purposes, guns are legal. Illegal guns are legal. If you're only prosecuting 44 of the 44,000 people who had a gun in whatever form or another, used in the commission of a crime or whatever, if you're only prosecuting 44 of them on the gun charges, aren't you condoning it? It's the same discussion we could have about immigration. Immigration, they bring over millions of people in this country, and we send back a few dozen or a few hundred or whatever it may be. We effectively let illegals do things that legal people, those that are in the system, can't do. Illegals work. They work on bogus Social Security. A person who's processing through the system legally will get a green card and work, and only, they will follow the letter of the law. And illegal will do whatever. They will identity theft, you name it. And guess who the left prefers in all of this system? They prefer the illegals. I mean, I could go on. The left love their illegal things, and I've told you guys this. They love the things that create chaos. You bring over a handful of Muslims. If only one of them is bad, it creates chaos. It creates perfect example. I was riding my bike. This was before the people got run over. I was riding my bike, me and my son and everything. And I'm riding the bike, and I tell him, get on the sidewalk. I don't want you riding in the street. There's a bike path that's got the little arrow in the bike that shows, hey, and the cars know, look, don't bother people in the bike path. But I told him, let's get on the sidewalk. I want that split second, just in case, to be able to protect him. And ironically, you think that when you go for a bike ride, you just go, doody, gonna go for a bike ride. No, go for a bike ride with the idea that some nutcase could decide, for whatever reason, I'm going to run over this family. So then less than a week later, the thing happens in New York that completely validated exactly the reason. I mean, I won't call it a premonition. Now, I wasn't anywhere close to getting run over, but call it a premonition. I just said, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust that I don't trust they're paying attention, number one. But there was a side of me that said there are people who will mow us down, and they're the bad guys, usually bearded, kind of Middle Eastern descent. But that's who I felt like, who knows? I don't know if they'll know me necessarily, but you just don't know. And that's the world that we live in. So one guy, now, when you're biking, trust me when I tell you, you're going to be thinking about this. The reason why I was thinking about it, not so much from the biking perspective, but from being mowed over, was because of the Muslim attacks around the world with vehicles. That's what made me tell my son, get off the road. You never know. And what happened? They attacked with a vehicle, mowed over these bikers, obviously killing people. And the left, they immediately start talking about Islamophobia. They even brought up guns, even though the guys had fake guns. The only guns used in the incident were the ones that brought down, where they shot the dude. But they start talking about guns. And so I was looking at the immediate cry for gun control when these types of things happen. And then I thought to myself, what does the left do almost every single time a Muslim attack occurs? They come out and they tell us, you shouldn't be blaming the Muslims, and because it's just the radical ones and all that. They never protect the gun. Never. They don't tell you oh, it wasn't the gun's fault. It was this idiot. There was a dude in, I want to say it was China, but I'm not. I think it was China. And he killed 50-something people on the subway with a knife. You don't hear him, talking about that. And it was a terror attack. You don't hear people talking about it like, man, that knife, ooh, they don't care. They're ideologically wanting to get the gun, so they attack the guns. But if you say, well, then shouldn't you ideologically want to get if you're going to blame the gun, which is the implement of destruction, why aren't you blaming the Muslim as the implement of destruction when that's what's happening? You can use the same logic. I'd like to be on a TV show and ask some leftist that. How do you reconcile this? Well, the gun is an inanimate object, and therefore, you mean you're bolstering my case? The gun can do nothing. If you sit a gun, I'm just curious, if you sit a gun in the woods, does it take a crap? So when you're talking about this inanimate object, that if it sat and left alone would do nothing, versus this animated object called the radical Muslim, who's looking for ways to kill people with suicide vests and a host of other ways. How are you reconciling one over the other? And the short answer is they can't. There is no reconciliation of this. But don't expect leftists to use logic in forming their opinions about things when there's so much, false fake news narratives that are out there that they can go out and get. It's the gun's fault. Then they want to tell you it's white men that kill, white conservative right-wingers. They're the ones that kill. Why should I dare look up the real statistics on it and find out that's not the case? Because that would ruin things for them. Oh, yeah. What else we got? I want to talk about the economy and what Donald Trump's going to be doing. I'm playing with this thing. Let me put that down before I break it. Yeah, so I want to pivot back, talk about Asia a little bit. We got to take a short break here in a bit. Faster than I thought? Oh, okay, it's coming up. All right, well, anyway, we'll talk about that and a few other human interest stories. At least they're interesting to me.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Interesting story. A couple things I want to cover because we don't have a lot of show left today. But a Dallas man reportedly traveled to the nation's capital for the purpose of killing all white police. At the White House, he got arrested. And Secret Service was able to get him. By the way, it's Kevin Jackson Show, 844-551-8255 if you want to chime in for any reason. So they say its Protective Intelligence Division, PID, was notified at about 2:55 p.m. Monday by the Montgomery County Police Department in Maryland to be on the lookout for Michael Orega. According to the Montgomery County Police, they issued the lookout after being contacted by Orega's wife in Texas about her husband's threatening statements. They responded to the Days Inn Hotel in Silver Spring, where Orega was staying at around, they got there about 1:30 to look for him. He wasn't there. Secret Service personnel at the White House immediately increased their posture of readiness and began searching for Orega. And they located him on the north side of Pennsylvania Avenue near Lafayette Park, where he was detained and arrested by uniformed officers around 4:05 p.m. He was not armed with a weapon and was taken into custody. And when I heard the story, I thought to myself, first of all, why would this guy want to travel all the way to D.C. from Dallas to kill cops when, Black Lives Matter had already killed cops in Dallas? Was he cutting the Dallas Police Department a break? And what was funny when I read the story, it was they wouldn't tell you that he's black. They said a man is headed to D.C. to try to kill black folks. And what he also said was he wanted to kill all white people and police. And that, brought up a lot of questions like, well, first, again, why do you want to kill all white people? And when I think back on how the left have sort of demonized the concept, that would demonize the Donald Trump by promoting a concept that Donald Trump has been divisive, I chuckle. The most divisive president, leader during modern times has undoubtedly been Barack Obama. And the sad thing is, he's not just dividing people based on race. Barack Obama divides people based on class, based on culture. He seems to enjoy it. And so this idea that Trump is divisive, what's made Trump divisive, if you want to put some blame there, is the media. They want us to believe that we've come out of utopia, that Barack Obama made it so great, we were all loving one another, and then Trump made it divisive. I want you to stop and think about this for just a second. Were things divisive during the time of Obama? Yes or no? You know the answer. So what are they saying? Oh, no, Trump, he stretched the divide. Did he? Or did the media stretch the divide? The media said that Trump people were starting fights at rallies and racist and all this. Nothing could have been further from the truth. That is the epitome of fake news. You guys know it. The left knows it. We found out from WikiLeaks they were paying people to be thugs at these events, come in and training them on how to do it and how not to make the media, make it backfire on the left. Training them in what to say, what to do. If you get arrested, we'll take care of it. Don't worry. Paying people for this stuff. And we're supposed to believe them. Yep, got this guy arrested. Metropolitan Deleted. He was charged with making felony threats and who knows. Black dude named Orega works for a construction company. I don't know if he owned. They said it. I thought he owned it when I was reading the story. Orega, Arega, probably Hispanic in nature. Arega, and but he looks black. And I was thinking, what would happen if a white criminal, a person, made these types of threats? I'm going to go to D.C. and I'm going to kill all these black cops. Now, I don't know. They probably wouldn't care about that. But what if he said, I'm going to kill black people? Okay, we'd hear a lot more about it. Anyway, there's a lot more we could talk about with this. I'm kind of bored with it, but it bugs me. It does bug me. I'm not going to lie to you that these guys are constantly, we get these types of lunatics. Oh, by the way, this guy was a very religious guy. And what's funny about that angle is typically when it comes to religion, you would think that these guys would want to out this guy that wants to do harm to police and he's a cop. But the reason why they can't do that is because they know that he's sick. And he's a black guy, so you can't let the idea that this black man feels oppressed enough to want to go out and kill white cops, that you overshadow that with the fact that he's a lunatic. And the fact that even it trumps the idea that he's a Christian. They didn't want to let you know that he's black. Oh my goodness. Here's another story. A woman gets her family kicked off the plane. Did you guys hear about this? Indian media says a woman got her entire family booted off a flight from Doha to Bali, Indonesia, after discovering her husband was cheating on her by snooping in his phone as he slept. Then she flew into a rage. Oh my goodness. Jeez. On November the 5th, Qatar Airways to Bali, they gave the flight number, was diverted to Chennai, India, according to Indian officials, and the Iranian lady, along with her husband and a child, were removed from the plane. Wow. It's good to know that even in a time of Iran where, things are rough, this woman had a fit. This Iranian woman apparently, I don't know, I mean, can Iranian women have this kind of reaction and not get a tire put around their neck and set on fire? I mean, she must not be. Here's what I think. They don't live in Iran because you can't get away with that. He would be like, you dare talk to me like this? Well, that's more Indian, wasn't it? Anyway, she would be up a creek. The Central Industrial Security Force, a paramilitary force in charge of security at India's airports, confirmed that the woman's, quote, unruly behavior with both her husbands and members of the flight crew led to their removal. They sent them to Kuala Lumpur on another airline for further travel back to Doha. They don't know whether they live in Doha, etc. But here's what's funny also about this story. So, old boy's taking a nap. I don't know, he's left his phone in his lap, I'm guessing. His wife sneaks it, looks at it, and goes, oh my goodness, and then goes off. And so I was thinking about, what's the moral to this story? Lock your phone? That's good. I like that. First of all, the moral to the story is don't be, dinking around with other women and have your information on the phone. Keep it somewhere else. No, I'm kidding. Don't be dinging around with other women at all. I mean, that's the real moral of the story, right? But no, so there's a lot of questions here. Should a person snoop on somebody else's stuff? It's his private stuff. There's secrecy and then there's privacy. His was secret. It wasn't private. I say to my son a lot, just leave my phone alone. Might have something from his mom saying, here's the present I want to get him for his birthday or Christmas, or I don't want him finding that stuff. That's private. But, and it's to some degree secret from him. But I'm saying it isn't bad. It's just I don't want him to find it. But I don't have anything bad on my phone. Nothing. But so that would be the number one moral. But should his wife have looked at his phone? I mean, if she suspected, right, then it was probably bad enough. Things weren't going that great. Why am I asking you guys? I know you're married, right? And did you break up? You got a girlfriend still? Yeah? On again, off again? So your girlfriend looked at your phone? Yeah? Let me ask you, do you think your girlfriend or your wife, you guys, do you think your girlfriend would look at your phone? Give it a chance? What about your wife? Yeah? Why do you think that is? You think she's suspecting? No, just because? Do y'all use your phones interchangeably? Are you guys like that? There are a lot of people, wives hand the phones, husbands hand the phones. I think that's great. It's a good thing. If you don't have, you should have a good enough relationship to where it doesn't matter. You pick up somebody's phone. I just don't do it. I just feel like it's private stuff, so I don't do it. I think the other thing, part of the reason is, things get misconstrued too, right? You might jump to conclusions in seeing certain things online. My thing is just, people's stuff is their stuff. If you want me to see it, see it. You should live your life pretty much. It says, this is how I suspect things are going, and act accordingly. Anyway, more when we come back.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. I want to cover some stuff. We've had some stuff stewing for a while that we never got out. For example, Hustler's Larry Flint offered $10 million for dirt on President Trump. Now, we know nothing about the clown in chief, the former resident Barack Obama, but we know plenty about Donald Trump. And here's what we found out. He's flawed. And we loved it. We loved it. We needed exactly that. We didn't want Mr. Perfect like Romney. We needed a flawed president. And that's why Donald Trump is now president of the United States. The left endeared Donald Trump to us as they pointed out flaw after flaw. And you know what Trump did? He said, yeah, I did it. I own it. Whatever. It was out of context. I did it. Hey, look, I know it's not exactly the right thing to say necessarily, but yeah, I did it. Whatever. They criticized his speaking ability, which resonated with millions, by the way. Trump would go, it's going to be good. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. Yeah. And they ridiculed him. Look at him. He's not eloquent. Look at Barack Obama. He's so eloquent. And that's why we lost 1,080 seats. in Congress, governorships in Congress and the Senate. He's so eloquent. He can't raise money. The DNC said he's a narcissistic jerk who couldn't raise money, left him with debt. He's so dreamy. They called President Trump dumb. A guy who graduated from Wharton dumb. They called him too brash. They called him a loose cannon. And those were the good things that they called him. Then they said he was a racist. They said he was a misogynist. And holy mother of Weinstein, we know how that backfired on him, haven't we? We've seen that one go south. But the witch hunt continues. Surely somebody has dirt on President Trump. At least that's what Hustler's founder Larry Flint is willing to pay money to find out. $10 million. I'd like to go to Donald Trump and say, look, you want to split this with me? Let's come up with some dirt, baby. $10 million reward for information that could lead to the impeachment of Donald Trump. What do you mean, lead to the impeachment? Oh, so he's got to be impeached for me to get my money? See, y'all didn't tell me about that wrinkle, producers. Yeah. He took out a full-page advertisement for this $10 million reward. Yeah. And you know what's funny about it is Flint knows that money's safe. The Clinton campaign did homework on Trump. In fact, they tried to make up stuff about Trump. That's how bad it was for them. They contrived stories about Trump. They were like, we can beat him. Here's how we're going to beat Donald Trump. He's hated. And we're going to start rumors that he's tied to the Russians and that'll do him in. And people were like, I don't care. We don't care. Larry Flint says Donald Trump is an illegitimate president who was installed by the quirks of our antiquated electoral college. They love attacking something. When the electoral college worked their way, they love it. When it doesn't go their way, whiny babies. He tried, when he was talking about impeaching the president, he cited Donald Trump's firing of Comey. A man who could end up in prison. Now that we know everything about Comey, I wonder if Flint still wants to do this. Then second, he talked about the withdrawal of the United States from the Paris Climate Change Agreement. That's the second reason he wants Trump impeached. Larry Flint, smut magnet, and he's worried about clean air. Hey, Larry, how about just clean underwear? Can we go for that? And who could forgive Trump's racism? Flint ripped Trump for his unconscionable defense of the KKK and neo-Nazis after the Charlottesville riots, which, oh, by the way, didn't happen. Donald Trump's never defended the KKK or neo-Nazis. But why quibble when a marketer of smut has his mind made up, huh? But for me, the most interesting part of the ad comes when Flint wrote, "We need to flush everything out into the open." He wrote that in the ad. Like, I don't know, let's flush Barack Obama's Columbia transcript out into the open. How about that? What about his Harvard grades? What about his thesis? There were a host of unknowns about Barack Obama that are not in the open. How about this leftist clown offer $10 million for dirt on Obama? Can you imagine if he had done this during the era of Obama, what would have come out if he'd offered $10 million for something that could lead to the impeachment of Obama? That's enough money to hide. That would have gotten some people interested. What's really funny is the leftists and his ilk believe that a billionaire who had the world's most beautiful women at his disposal has anything to hide. Whatever Donald Trump did in his past, he's more than made amends. By the way, just to be on the safe side, Flint could offer the same deal on the Clintons, right? Sadly, he'd be forced to pay once the dirt began to come in, but lucky for Flint, this particular lotto ticket's going to go uncashed. Appears to be a publicity stunt. He might as well make it $100 million. Larry, make it $100 million. Make it $1 billion. $1 billion for somebody that can come up with something to impeach President Trump. Might as well. He's not going to find, there's no money to do it. There's nothing there, man. I mean, I don't know how to put, it's boring. There's nothing there. He just Flint should admit he's part of the opposition, part of the Never Trumpers, part of the deep state and all these other things that are going on, because he's got to be working with the Clintons. This is a publicity stunt. How's Hustler doing these days? Anybody know? Hugh Hefner's gone, so one would think Flint wouldn't have to stoop to baseless publicity stunts now that the founder of Playboy magazine died. Maybe the smut business hasn't recovered from the Obama economy? What do you think? Flint has diversified. Is he going from sex to drugs? Is that why he did it? He's on hallucinogens? The founder of the sexually explicit Hustler magazine and several other pornographic enterprises has invested $100,000 in Pineapple Express. Did you guys know this? A cannabis consulting and branding firm in Los Angeles. The publicly traded company said Friday that Flint purchased 100,000 common shares for $100,000, calling him, quote, an amazing investor and world-renowned defender of First Amendment rights, said CEO Matthew Feinstein. Says the backing would inspire employees to work harder. From porn to drugs. Knowing that Mr. Flint has made an investment in our company provides an impetus for everyone at headquarters to surpass expectations and deliver excellent results. Because that's what Larry's all about. Excellence. Sex and drugs. What's that leave out? Rock and roll? Is Flint going to buy a rock group to complete the trifecta? Because he's going to have at least $10 million to put into it, because the money that he's offering up for Donald Trump dirt is not going to, he's not going to have to pay that out. Oh, yeah. Some of these guys, you got to wonder, what makes you want to chime in when you know nothing about this? I mean, who makes you believe that you're relevant? Larry Flint. Look, I don't know what Larry's background is. Does he study politics daily? He could. And I know his magazine was iconic. I knew it as a kid. It's iconic. It's like Penthouse. It's another kind of very, very smutty magazine. But does that make him a professional in politics? Does it make him somebody we need to be paying attention to? And the short answer is, of course not. Why would somebody pay attention to a guy? I mean, his sensibilities about things are warped as well. Wow. A dude, that's like a guy in the porn industry giving a dude dating advice. Yeah, so what you do is you go up to the girl and you say, hey, listen, I make adult films. Would you like to have some adult beverages and we could, talk about it? Maybe, yeah, said no pickup guy ever in a pickup line. What's he going to teach you Larry Flint. Good representative of the left, though. I'll give him that. Perfect representative. Objectifying women, war on women. Probably doesn't even pay him as much as he pays the males. Who knows? Gotta leave it there.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.